Bhattacharya as well. Let me begin with Dr. Jaijit Bhattacharya. Dr. Bhattacharya, what do you make of the Finance Ministry's clarifications as far as this case is concerned?
It is what it is. The Finance Ministry is not in the business of directing the PSEs into doing what they need to do or not do. The LIC, as was rightly pointed out, is governed by the Insurance Act of 1938, and therefore LIC will do what's best in the interest of its own shareholders. And in that, it is obvious that they will be investing into companies which will grow as India grows. So investing into entities such as Adani, Reliance, Infosys, Tata's, TCS, which will grow as India grows, it's an obvious bet. And therefore, the return that comes from it will be helpful to LIC shareholders. Also, in addition, it's quite curious to note, why does Washington Post off and on goes after Adani sitting in Washington? What does it have to do, and what are its interests in trying to corner Adani, trying to corner the Indian government? They should focus on what Trump is doing, and they should focus on how, without any reason, Trump has been murdering innocent people in Venezuela by bombing them without any due diligence. Instead of focusing on their issues which are nearshore, they're suddenly picking up on the key companies of India. 50% of our containerized cargo is handled by Adani. Adani is almost 5% of India's GDP. So is Reliance. So are many other companies. And therefore, trying to attack an Adani or any such large corporate in India is akin to attacking the Indian economy itself. And it's very, very curious to note as to why they are repeatedly attacking Adani without any rationale from a Washington perspective or from a US perspective. And so coming back to your question, well, does the Finance Ministry have any role to play in directing where an LIC should be investing? The answer clearly is a no. An LIC will invest in areas which make sense for its shareholders.
All right, stay on with me. Sumit Peer also. Do you think that there are some, or is there a need for any specific auditable records that can be perhaps provided to further counter these external allegations that Finance Ministry officials were nudging LIC in May 2025 towards their investment in Adani? Or do we just accept the Finance Ministry's clarification and not give this more time and space than it requires?
For a large corporation like LIC, it is always helpful to be more transparent. It is always helpful to put more records out there. But I think the challenge essentially is that there is a continuous stream of allegations coming in, directed towards Adani's, directed towards our fundamental organizations such as LIC, SBI, and so on and so forth, which distracts the top management from actually focusing on growth and then moving on to trying to protect themselves, and therefore losing valuable quarters in focusing on responding to such allegations which just do not have any base. Having said that, again, for a large corporation, it is always good to be as transparent as possible. LIC, Adani, which is a listed, the parts of Adani which are listed, have been transparent as per the SEBI law. Same with LIC. And if there is a demand for more transparency, it should come from India, based on requirements and challenges from an Indian lens, an Indian perspective. It is quite galling to note that something that's cropping up 10,000 miles away in a yellow newspaper called Washington Post, which has a track record of coming out with news and narrations which are against the global south, which is against India, and that is being given that's been given so much of significance in the parliament, burning taxpayers' money, picking up an issue which is not even an issue which connects with the voters. So why is the opposition even picking it up? Pollution is an issue. Pollution is not being picked up with the same gusto that this particular issue is being picked up. And that has happened year after year, parliament session after parliament session. When we are wasting the parliament sessions and the bandwidth of the parliament, we are slowing down the progress of this country. And that's what is really galling all of us, that a baseless allegation by a yellow journalism newspaper is taking up and eating into our bandwidth, eating up into our legislative process, taking up our legislators' time, taking up the time of the top management of our key organizations. That is not acceptable. Having said that, again, as I said, more transparency, the better it is. But let it not be for the wrong reasons. It should be for the right reasons.
Okay, all right. On that note, I thank both of our guests for joining us to take this debate forward.